Reports overnight that ARM's more than $54 billion offering, or at least that's what it's going to value the company at, is oversubscribed by as much as 10 times. Bankers are planning to stop taking orders this afternoon. That would be a day ahead of schedule. Sources telling CNBC there continues to be investor concerns, though, about governance, particularly in China. And Eunice Yoon joins us now. She has that part of the story. Eunice.
Thanks, David. Well, China accounts for about a quarter of ARM sales, but the UK chip designer depends on an entity with which it has a very fractured relationship. That entity is called ARM Technology. It is independent of ARM, though it depends on ARM for its IP. It generates sales via licenses as well as royalties. Now, for investors, a big risk is that ARM doesn't have much control over its China business. SoftBank owns about 48%, but most is held by China investors. So people have been telling me here that there's no majority shareholder, which is an issue for ARM or anybody who wants to invest in it, in ARM. And moreover, it's run by two co-CEOs. And the former CEO, who was fired because of a conflict of interest drama, that former CEO still retains investment. Now, a second risk is the market, the funding in particular, because people here have been telling me that despite the big headlines that there's a lot of money going into chip investment, there's a big question as to just how much that money would be going to potential new customers or startups that would use ARM. So that's one big question mark. Secondly, the consumer electronics demand is not looking particularly healthy. And then the macro environment here is also a factor. Now, the third risk for investors is the geopolitics. People here are worried about the what they see as a deteriorating environment for foreign business as well as private business. The second part is that there's just a lot of pressure and on Chinese companies to go a little bit more nationalistic. So people are wondering whether or not that's going to mean that ARM's Chinese partner could become a rival one day. And then finally, the risk is there of the U.S. export controls and whether or not that's going to become a threat to ARM. Guys?
Eunice, any way to sort of categorize what the most important of all those concerns might be, or do you have to just take them all together and say, listen, it's China, things are different here, and obviously the risk is higher?
I think a lot of people were focused on the fact that ARM didn't have a whole lot of control over its China business. That was what was coming up quite a few times in conversations of mine. So that was a big factor. And just generally worried that ARM could potentially lose its China business. So what people have been saying to me is that if they were to advise anybody about investing in the ARM IPO, that they would say you should think about ARM's business outside of China. And if you still think that ARM would be a good investment, even if it lost the China business, then at least you could feel good about the decision.
Well, it seems very complicated, the ARM China ownership structure. So there's no direct management from ARM or from SoftBank in this part of the business?
Sorry, my audio. Oh.
Eunice, are you there?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, you cut out. So
no, just on the complexity around ARM China, who manages it, who owns it. And it seems like a pretty big risk and kind of tough to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the risk itself is there for ARM, because even if you kind of look at who is who the shareholders are, it's not particularly clear, and also the way it's run, not particularly clear. But then on the outside, you do have these external factors, such as the fact that the demand for consumer electronics isn't necessarily growing. People have been talking about how the boom for the fabless company is over, and so there's just like all these other factors that the company faces, which makes it a lot harder to think about whether or not it's a good place to put your money.
Indeed, the macro picture there, obviously a topic of discussion all around the world, Eunice. Big week. Thank you, Eunice Yoon, joining us from China tonight.